Welcome to another installment of Employee Termination Tips. My name is Christopher Neufeld of Neufeld Legal. And in this particular video, we're going to be discussing collecting the materials related to your employment prior to an anticipated layoff, especially those mass layoffs that unfortunately are coming about all too frequently. For example, with the Cenovus acquisition of Husky, there's an anticipation of upwards of 25% of the personnel working at Husky. So why do I say this? Well, I say that you should collect employment-related materials such as employment contracts, payroll statements, and other information because all too often you keep them on your work hard drive or your work emails. That's where you receive them. And as soon as you're laid off, those materials become inaccessible. Now, these are your specific materials that are belonging to yourself, and you should really have copies of them. It always makes it extremely difficult to, whether you do it by yourself or with a lawyer, to ascertain whether or not you're getting properly paid on your termination and severance pay package. So, those materials that are properly yours, those contracts that you've signed, those payroll statements that you receive oftentimes to your company email site, those employee bulletins, notices, you should have those the hard copies in your own personal file and actually, if at all possible, outside the office. That's where they belong. They're yours. You don't want to have an issue with the company. Similarly, you should have copies of all your contracts, your payroll statements. If necessary, you make copies of them. Or the other way to do it is if you have controls on the photocopier. You can simply take photographs with your phone of your documents. That's what you want to do. If you want to know other ways to make sure you have the full SWOT of employment-related materials, let us know. You don't want to necessarily leave evidence behind that you've been collecting these materials, but at the end of the day, it really is your materials. And with these companies announcing that they're going to lay off people, you really need to be a bit more proactive with respect to protecting yourself and your interests, so that when they give you these very short timelines, and you have to make judgments as to whether or not you got appropriate termination and severance pay, you want to have all the available information in front of you. You don't want to be relying upon what they're providing you and saying, this is what we believe is appropriate with the law. Because all too often, they're inaccurate, they're incorrect. And a knowledgeable lawyer can show you where the deficiencies are, where the inaccuracies are. But you can't do that without the materials. So you really need to have copies of your materials. So be proactive. Make sure you have copies of all your materials so that you can then make the appropriate judgment calls if and when you are part of these massive layoffs that unfortunately tend to happen, and the companies tend to close down your access all too quickly. If you need more information, please give us a shout, send us an email, and we can give you some proactive steps that might be specific to your own situation. Thank you very much.